Hello everyone, welcome back to another fantastic episode with a great guest. And well, this series is normally called My Most Loved Fragrances, but I think I haven't worked out the title of the video yet, but it's going to be something a little bit vintage themed, just to give it a little bit more of a hook there to get you guys in. But it's essentially another episode of My Most Cherished or Loved Fragrances with a fantastic new guest that I've never really interacted with before, and that is Kellen from Scents of South Jersey. Hello.
How are you? Thanks for having me on.
I'm great, and it's really, really great to have you on the show. This is one that's been requested, so it's obvious that a few people, I think, maybe have watched some of the videos that I've done with Chris from Scentland, where we kind of leaned a little bit towards some older fragrances, and they said it's about time that you got Kellen from Scents of South Jersey on. And I definitely have been someone who's admired your channel for a while, actually, and really enjoyed your unique take on fragrances. And I think, you're like me, someone who does favor some of the older fragrances, which is fantastic. So,
absolutely,
as ever, in this series, we're going to find out about the guest. And in the course of doing that, he's going to give us some great fragrances that mean a lot to him or her. And I've decided, because I know you like the older stuff, we're calling it a vintage fragrance special today. And so for those fans of my channel who love to hear about the older stuff, and particularly if you like some non-obvious stuff that maybe you haven't heard of, I think it could be a really great episode. So to start off with, Kellen, it's nice that your channel name already gives us a few clues, because it's Scents of South Jersey. So this tells me it's a channel about fragrances, and you're based in South Jersey in the USA. Can you just, for those of us who perhaps don't know, whereabouts exactly is that in the States?
So it's, I'm really just under central New Jersey. So if any of you guys know where, anyone out there knows where Philadelphia is, obviously Pennsylvania, I'm right across, I would say not even 5 minutes. I could take the bridge and I'm in Philly right away. So really close to, that city. You can get to Pennsylvania really quick. And, it's a nice location for that, but it's just out of the city essentially. But if I want to go into the city, I can't easily. And I got some family that lives in Philadelphia as well. But when I moved over to South Jersey for work, for my job, I purchased the house here because it was just a spot that I liked. It fit, but it's also close to, if I wanted to go downtown, I can do that. So that's where that is.
Okay, fantastic. All right, so let's dive into it. And in the course of doing that, we're going to learn not just about the fragrances, but I'm always going to try and find out a bit more about you as a person. So 5 fragrances that mean a lot to you with a bit of a vintage theme. What's number 1, please, Kellen?
This one is a fragrance that it's an old school Italian type of barbershop fragrance. I've talked about it before. You can still get it, right? So it's not like it's completely discontinued. Some of the other ones that will be on that I'll talk about are harder to get. But Acqua di Selva by Visconti di Madrone, or former house called Victor. So this one, it really means a lot to me. It's nostalgic because this is probably one of the first fragrances that I've ever smelled, because my father wore it and he would just have it around the house when I was growing up all the time. He had a different presentation. It actually had like a built-in sprayer instead of this cap. And I have that style too, but this one was just easier to grab when I wanted to get ready for the video. So I picked this one up, and it's just this, every time I smell it, it just reminds me of my father. And, like when I was younger, when he would come pick me up from either for school or for wherever I was, he would wear this all the time. And he had probably at any given time 5 or 6 fragrances. He had like Armani Eau Pour Homme, he had Aramis, he had Dolce & Gabbana Pour Homme with the sticker on it, the one that was made in Italy. Granted, this is going way back, so that was easy to get then. But this was one that I always remember being around, and it's very green, sharp pine, and it's this thing. And he actually bought me this bottle, and it's almost done. So this is the one I kind of keep it around, and every time he comes over, my parents come to visit me. This he still wears it to this day, and it's one that definitely is nostalgic for me, but I think is really fresh, and it's green, and one of the first kind of introduction to classic masculine men's fragrances was this one. I don't know if you've ever tried it.
No, I've heard of it, and I'm very intrigued to try it now. So we can still get this one easily today, right?
Yeah, it would come just like that, and it's inexpensive too. I think these are $20 for 100 ml, and it's
brilliant.
if you ever tried like a Pinot Silvestre or Agua Brava, any of those, it's in that vein. I think this is the oldest one out of all of them, though. This or Pinot, I'm not sure. I think this was like 1949. This one came out, and it was under the House Victor, and then that which is now Visconti di Madrone. So performance-wise, it's it lasts maybe a couple hours, but it's that doesn't matter. You just reapply it, and it's inexpensive, so you can just spray away.
Brilliant. Okay, and your dad wore that one. I mean, and from the other fragrances you
Mm-hmm.
described, that was quite a good little mini collection he had going on there. So that's not every. I don't think my dad never had like 5 different fragrances. So that's awesome. Okay, brilliant. Now, just as you were talking about that and your childhood and stuff, I was reminded of my question that I always ask every guest. So, how and perhaps at what point did you become more than usually interested in fragrances?
So I'd say, just like I mentioned, growing up, going into the bathroom and seeing them on the countertop and smelling and think they smell good, but not necessarily wearing them. And I remember one of the first fragrances that was ever gifted to me was from my older sister, and she actually went abroad and she brought this back home, and it was from, I think it's called Sonia Rykiel, and it's Rykiel Homme, and I think the bottle's shaped like a T-shirt, and it like the juice is like blue or purple. And I remember she gave it to me. I must have been in element like 5th grade, and I remember being like, "What am I supposed to do with this? I don't know. There's a cologne. I don't. I was too young. I remember smelling things and liking it, and I remember not actually using that until I got into middle school. And then I started to spray it, and I went through the whole bottle, and I think that was the first one that. And then after that, I would ask for them. Okay, hey, and I would just take whatever my parents gave me. Whatever my mom would buy me in high school, like. And I would always have at least one. I remember like CK Eternity was one of them, and certain ones I remember being on my shelf for years, and it would go down very slowly. I wouldn't use them that much, but I would say right around then is when I thought it was okay, and I recognized, well, my dad wears one every day, and that one was the first one that was ever gifted to me, and I started, getting at least one each year. They would last me around a year or two, something like that.
Right. Brilliant. Okay, so it goes way back for you, good, because some guests, it's like they weren't massively into it at all, and then suddenly they watched YouTube 5 years ago. But with you, it goes back a bit more than that. And
right.
Forgive my ignorance, but 5th grade in America is roughly what age?
God, what was I? I think I was 11. Yeah, 11 or 12 or something like that.
Brilliant.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
So I think like, and when I received that, I'm like, I remember like almost probably being like bratty about it and scoffing at it. And my older sister's name is Allie. And I was like, well, like this isn't a toy. I can't play with this. What am I? And it sat on the shelf for, God, another probably 2 years until I was like in the end of 7th grade. And that's where it, became a little bit more interesting and cool to have a cologne and wear a fragrance too, because before that I didn't care. I just thought that they were something that was in the bathroom that smelled nice.
Yeah, 11 is a bit young, but once you get into the teens, then they become a little bit more useful, I think. Okay, fantastic, great one to kick off with. So what's number 2, please?
All right, number 2 has probably got to be, I'll stick with the same house. So this one I got way later. Obviously, this is in the past year I received this fragrance, but it's one that I really enjoy, and it's from Victor. And I don't know if you've ever tried it, but it's called Wall Street. And This one really like epitomizes, I think, what the 80s are. And I guess the House of Victor, I don't think, here's what the box looks like. I don't think it was ever that high end of a house, but like this fragrance smells just so nice. And I've included it in the forgotten fragrance list. And you think of the movie Wall Street with Charlie Sheen, and you think of Boiler Room, those like sales movies, and guys in the high-rise towers and stuff. And this, just the intense moss and leather and masculine green, like this one to me really, like the first I smelled it, I got a little 5 ml sample and I tried it because there's another fragrance Matt, right? You've seen his videos. He's got he did this, and actually I think that's where I first saw it, and I was like, that's such a cool bottle. And I like, and my profession is in sales, so that was always appealing to me. And this just smells like a CEO would. It smells like I said it, in the leather interior of like an 80s car or a really nice office with hard leather, and it's green. And there's going to be a common theme here with green, you'll see. But this one is really nice, and I wear it, and you can make this a daily, you can wear it whenever, but every time I wear it, I enjoy it. I don't wear it as much though, because it's the only bottle I have, and it's pretty hard to find. but this stuff is awesome.
Right. Now, I was going to say, can you just hold that bottle up, because that is so 80s.
It is.
It's unbelievable. I don't know what it is. Yeah.
Symbol there, you know.
Yeah.
So I got this without a cap too. Like, it didn't even have the cap up, but it had the box, and
Right.
I think it was like almost, it was like 90% full. So I was like, but the guy was only selling it for $40, and I thought that was great.
Right, brilliant. Okay, so that's discontinued and hard to find now, right?
Yeah, it came out in '84 from what I've read, and I don't. But like, you think, it makes you think, who were the people that bought this and wore this back then? Like, was it popular? Was it only around for a couple of years? And that's it's a blip in fragrance history, but it's one that's pretty cool. And
I love it.
Wall Street, yeah, no, I thought that was such a cool scent.
Well, Wall Street, the name is great, and yeah, it was a great film, and yeah, to me that is the bottle design is so 80s, and I imagine that on a we would, I don't know if you had it in the USA, but here we in the 80s, like, you would have a bath and a bathroom sink that were green colored and stuff in the 80s. You know, it belongs with this really dated kind of decor, and I love it. But I may never get the chance to try it. But again, you've already two that I was really barely aware of. So this is what we want from you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, this
okay,
is great.
Cool choices so far. Now, just while we're getting to know you a little bit better, then, so what point did you? What made you decide to do a YouTube fragrance channel? And have you ever done any other YouTube channels before?
So no other YouTube channel. So since the fragrance one was the first one, so I decided to do it. For the longest time, probably after like in college, I had every year I would get a new cologne. Scott of Magnetism was like my favorite for 2 or 3 years. I loved that, and then it got discontinued. And that's nothing like any of the stuff that I'm into now. That's more of a sweet, from what I remember. I haven't smelled it in years. Burberry London, Dolce & Gabbana, the one, when those all came out, I had them all. And then right after college, a friend of mine, Nick Santagata, got me into La Male by Jean Paul Gaultier, and that was it for me. I had that for years, and I had everything: the shower gel, the deodorant spray, the whole body line. And I like to do that with the scent so they match. And I started working. I had a couple jobs after college, but the one that I had a lot of success with, a sales role, was at a fitness center. It was LA Fitness. I know they actually have them in the UK, but they're not. It's not the same company. They just have the same name coincidentally. And that was like think about like a Wall Street or Boiler Room, but for gym memberships, right? And you had to be there all the time, and you had to sell. You were constantly on the phone, making calls, getting people to come in, and you're interacting with them, taking them around on tours. And I remember the district managers would always have this whole emphasis on, you have to look good, you have to smell good. You're in a gym, people are working out. Sometimes you get the funk or body odor or whatever, so you have to smell good so you can present well, so you can sell the gym membership. You make commission on every single person. You hit your bonuses, and as a GM, you're in charge of the store. So I was burning through Jean Paul Gaultier's La Male. Like every 6 weeks, I have a new bottle, and I thought to myself, I have to start getting like less expensive colognes, because I was like buying them all the time. So then I started ordering Yo Bohm and Drakkar Noir, and Drakkar Noir really stuck with me. That one was one that I remember being like, wow, this is awesome. And then I started getting some of my sales associates that I had working for me into it, and they were buying them off me. I would go to the store, buy them, and resell them to these kids. And but they didn't know whatever it was. I remember English laundries were great. You could go to the like TJ Maxx or whatever, those types of stores, and buy them for like $15, and these kids are buying them for $50 off, and you sell them to people. And a couple of my friends said, you should review cologne. You're into it so much. And I thought, there's so many channels. And I started watching videos and getting into different ones. And that's why I remember seeing yours about barbershop fragrances and talking about Acqua di Parma. And then once I bought that one, Colonia, the first one, the original one, and I followed you on Instagram and with my personal account, which I think you follow too. That was it. I was like, wow, this is like a whole other level of fragrance I've never, experienced. That, and that's only the surface, really, with that type of one. And I believe in 2019, I left that job, and I started where I'm at now. And I also started the cologne channel, and I just was, I didn't even know what I was doing. I had no idea. I just went on there, just started to talk about it. I think One Man Show by Jacques Bogart was the first fragrance I ever reviewed, and people started interacting, and it became fun to people are, very welcoming too, which is nice. That, and I've noticed that about the fragrance community. It's very friendly. So, and that's just people encouraging me to do it. And I said, what the heck, what's the worst that can happen? I stopped down the line, but I didn't think it would take off like it has, to an extent. Obviously, I know it's not a huge channel, but it's still a lot of fun to interact with people, and it's a lot of fun to talk about something that I would probably, that I would do to anybody on the street if they had a conversation about it. So.
Brilliant. That's all the right reasons to start. Totally. Yeah, I love it. And because I was just, as I said just before we came on air, I was listening to your most recent video as I went for a run this evening, and now it kind of makes sense because if you're in sales, then I guess you're used to talking to people and being comfortable doing that. And engaging and all that kind of thing. But I felt that the video was, by the way, guys, of course, there is a link to the Sense of South Jersey channel in the description if you haven't seen it. I do really recommend it if you like some of the old school fragrances particularly, and if you like to find out about things you haven't heard of before. We get a lot of that from Kellen's channel, which is always so nice. But I noticed with your video, yeah, it was very well. I thought it was like really well paced. I didn't, I don't watch a ton of fragrance videos now because I've just watched so many over the years that it's enough. So there's very few videos now that I'll watch from beginning to end and not sort of zone out on that. But the way you kind of pitched it, I never felt like this is a salesy guy. Some YouTube channels in all genres, they're a bit too much like in your face and it's sort of over the top. Right. But your pace was just really good. Like you described the fragrances in a really good way, and I was like, it was just enough information on each one. You weren't droning on for hours about how it develops, but it was a perfect amount of information, and it just felt kind of natural to me, which was very good. So it's clear that you are a born salesman, because I didn't feel like you were selling stuff, and obviously you weren't. You were just doing it out of genuine love. But I already was like, when I get home, I need to watch this again and write down at least 3 of these and go and buy them, including the Tacchini, Sergio Tacchini, which sounds really good. And so actually, as my scent of the night tonight, I picked Denim, which was one of your ones that you mentioned in the video. So that was really cool.
I should have. I was thinking about that, but I didn't bring that in because I had just reviewed it. But that I don't know if I've had a better, less expensive fragrance than that one. I killed the bottle. I finished it already. I had it for 6 weeks, and I'm done with it. I got some backups, but I love that stuff. That stuff is awesome.
Yeah, with the splashes, they go quick, right? Don't they?
Well, mine was the spray. Actually, the splash
you got the spray.
I bought for the aftershave, and I got the spray one too, the eau de toilette. And that the sprayer dumps it on you. It's so much comes out. But it. Not only does it last, when I work out and I sweat, that stuff it starts all over again. It projects I love that stuff.
Yeah, guys, really cool fragrance. Denim. Either get the original aftershave or the eau de toilette if you want the full experience. Fantastic. Okay, so have we had 2, and it's now number 3. Am I right?
That's right. All right, here, let's...
Okay, go for it.
All right, well, we cannot have legendary vintage without this one. So I got them all in the boxes. I'm sorry. I don't know if you've ever tried this, but this might be a USA thing, but Caesar's Man Legendary Cologne Spray, the legendary version. It has to be the legendary version, which it says right there. So this was, I believe, came out in 1988. And it's from Caesar's World Entertainment, the big Las Vegas casino. They have that in Atlantic City too, which is further South Jersey. And this was a spawn off of me researching about Czar Cologne when I found out about this one. So I purchased the one that's out now, which is by a company called Palm Springs or Palm Beach Beauty Supply, and it's made in China. It smells nice, but it's nowhere near this is one of the cases where. And you hear this all the time, you have to get the vintage versus the new formulation. And sometimes I don't necessarily always agree with that. Sometimes I think that the one that's out now is fine and the differences are slim. But in this case, it's like night and day. This one is one of it's the greenest, most masculine, I say that about a lot of things, but if you like the Dracar Noir, I hear it's compared to Gucci Noble, which I've never tried. That's one I've always wanted to try. Never tried that, but this one is good. It's a little bit greener than Dracar Noir. It lasts a really long time, and it's one that I tracked down. And when I finally got a sample of the vintage one, I found a seller through Walmart.com actually, and then I contacted them directly, went around Walmart, and he had 4 of these gift sets, and I just bought all 4 of them. And he was selling them for, I don't think he had any idea that they would go for so much on eBay. So I bought all 4 of them, and I got them all for $35 each, and it came with the shower gel and the aftershave balm, and I picked up some aftershaves off of eBay too. This is just one of my newer bottles, and you can tell the differences in the detail with it, like the Caesar
Can we
head.
see? Yeah, show us the. Yeah, let's see. Yeah.
So
just show
it
us the
says,
bottle. Yeah.
right there. I just hit sometimes.
Brilliant. I love the design. It's so good.
Yeah, there you go. So you can see that with
Yes.
the Caesar head. It's very, very
Yeah.
detailed. The one that's current, it's just a silhouette of a blank face. There's no detail there. The box isn't the same. And this one says,
it's called Caesar's Man Legendary.
Yeah, Caesar's Man and legendary cologne spray. You can see that there.
Okay,
Yeah.
great.
Really
and is the modern one just called Caesar's Man, or?
It's Caesar's Man cologne spray. It doesn't have legendary. The box doesn't say.
Let's see the box. Yeah, lovely. Yeah.
So Caesar's Palace, you can see the detail.
Oh, look at the box. Yeah.
That marble.
Wow.
Really
that's a box and a half. Look at that.
It's a big bottle, like 120 ml.
Oh, wow.
And it's great, and it lasts a long time. It's very smooth. The oak moss in it is real, and that's probably my favorite note. I love that oak moss. To me, that's like the ultimate, when it comes to men's fragrance. But nice sprayer on it, and the new one lasts for about 20 minutes. It's $10 or something like that. But this is really good.
Right.
You can get this one, try it out. This is really good.
Right. I'm definitely interested in that one. Okay, superb. Yeah, and of course, for any viewers who may not know, that famous logo there from Caesar's Palace, which is a huge and very famous casino out there in the States. And correct me if I'm wrong, but what used to be maybe still is, the venue for many big boxing matches and stuff.
Oh, yeah. They had a lot of sporting events there, too. And then in the description, too, they also talk about its connection to, like, actual Julius Caesar, like the ancient Rome. And I'm a huge history buff. I like a lot of history, especially for ancient Roman history. So that connection with it is cool. The detail, like it looks like a Roman column. The story, and it says, like, in its description, for the man who conquers, and and Caesar being one of the greatest generals ever, always escaping death and coming out on top, and to have a fragrance named after him, and its affiliation with the casino too, also being named Caesar's. But for me, I think the history part of it is actually a little bit more appealing, in terms of just making it more interesting than say the casino. Not a big gambler.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I wouldn't be. I'm not crazy to go to casinos, but I just remember as a kid that place is stuck in your memory a little bit. Did you say the fragrance was released in 80 something?
I think from what I remember, it was 88. But yeah, so it was after Jacquard Noir, and it's got some similarity to that, and maybe some other fragrances, but it definitely stands on its own. Way less notes than Jacquard. It doesn't have nearly as many notes, I noticed. So.
Okay, definitely. That sounds like one that I would love to check out. I'm going to have a look on eBay. And I remember fondly like Thomas the Hitman Hearns versus Marvin Hagler from Caesar's Palace.
I think I have the microphone. Yeah,
those were the days. Okay, lovely choice. What's number 4, please?
All right, number 4. All right, this one, that's the aftershave. Whoops, I forgot. I got to get the eau de toilette. So, ever heard of the house Pinogue from Paris? Pinogue, I believe I'm saying that right.
Pinogue.
Pinogue?
No.
So this fragrance I discovered through seeing a picture of it. It's called Businessman. Before there was Office for Men, there was Businessman. So this is one of like, have you ever tried Worth Pour Homme?
I don't think I've tried it, but I've seen it and heard a lot about it. Yeah.
So it's similar to this one, but you can, and you thought Wall Street was 80s. Like, look at this box. Like, this is one of the funniest things. Like in the bottle too. This was my scent of the day today. So I shaved and I used the aftershave. So I spray this on. Nice sprayer. It's so herbal and mossy, and it's just like oak moss is just poured out on you. And this stuff lasts all day. It kind of is like a mixture. Car, a little bit of Paco Rabanne Pour Homme, and I would say, and that it reminds me of Worth Pour Homme a little bit too. So, and it was just so obscure. I've never heard of it, and I thought it was something that was really cool. The bottle, like the logo design on it, is really nice, and it just really angular. And the aftershave here looks exactly the same. So I'll show you that too. And I got those two from a site in Canada that has a lot of vintage too. So you can see this one is just going to be a splash on, obviously, for aftershave. Look, the juice isn't as dark. You can kind of see the difference a little bit, but this one, it smells amazing, and it's so like old school and classy. And I work with people that are older than me too. So some of the owner of the company that I work for, he appreciates stuff like this. Like he wore Giorgio for Men from Beverly Hills. He liked that one, and he'll always be like, "Oh, what cologne?" So that's cool that he interacts with me on that as well. and this one is really good. This was also in 1984, same year as Wall Street. Just kind of fell off into obscurity, but it is amazing. It's an awesome scent. It's just so green. Again, mossy herbal. Has that kind of spice rack feel, but with the mossy dry down, and it's clean. It's a very clean, fresh scent. Like at the same time, it's not too heavy, and I could see why they called it businessman. You know, you're supposed to wear it every day or something like that. I would imagine they make it like geared towards like a signature scent.
Yeah, brilliant. Okay, the original Office for Men, like you say, absolutely love it. And the company's called.
No, so yeah, right there.
Right. Panouge.
Yep, Panouge.
Yep.
I never heard of it until this one.
Me neither. Okay, well, this is superb. I've learned a lot already. You're putting me to shame here because I thought I sometimes feature some obscure fragrances, but this is.
I found out about that one on Instagram. You know that you got to follow this guy. It's Vintage Parfumist on Instagram.
Yeah.
That is like the holy grail of things you've never seen. But that's where I found out about that. And Bangkok Hound, that guy too. I think he had a picture. Yeah, they've got anything you can think of, and I see these, and I'm like, it's just so interesting. Like, what does that smell like? I have to know what that smells like. And then when you get it, and they're just so different from anything that comes out today. And I think that's part of why it's so interesting to me. It's just because you read the notes, you read descriptions, like, oh, this is animalic, or this is, and you're like, what does that even mean? You got to buy it and try it out, like a Koros or something.
There's so much fun to be had, and some of these ones, because they're not the most hyped up things, if you're lucky enough to find them, they may only be fairly affordable, so there's so much fun to be had. And great account, that one, Vintage Parfumist, and he's always got like the whole set, hasn't he? He's got the aftershave, he's got you do that too. You often, I notice, you get the aftershave balm and the splash, so it can. Do you feel that it can really enhance the experience if you do the aftershave and maybe the moisturizer? Is there something to be said for that, you think?
I always think it pushes the performance for sure. If you go back, like for example, on my personal account, if you go back, there's a picture from like 2014, right? And it's got the Jean-Paul Gaultier lineup. And I've always done that. I always wanted the two most important things that I have to get aside from the fragrance are the aftershave and the aftershave balm. Everything else is more of like it's nice to have, but it's not as necessary. But I have a thick beard, so like when I shave, the balm is necessary. And if I don't have the balm, I have an unscented one that I use from the Art of Shaving, which is nice. But I think the shower gel, the deodorant, all that stuff combined, it can only help. And it's nice to have that when it matches the whole thing. And, once I get a set, and if I use enough of them, I usually don't rebuy, because after a certain point, you can only have so many things. But he puts me to shame with that. He's got everything you could think of. He's probably been doing it way longer.
He's incredible. Yeah, I think he's a Russian guy, isn't he? Yeah.
I believe something. I didn't know 100%.
Yeah, he's got a phenomenal collection. Yeah, but I have to agree. Yeah, because I got an old vintage Armani Eau pour Homme, and it happened to come with the aftershave balm, and it just I got compliments on that fragrance, and I'm sure it was the aftershave balm was it took it to a whole new level, and it
holds it in. And it sticks to
it really works. It's incredible. And I was talking to George Zaharoff recently, and he explained to me that there's much less of that stuff made now. The big companies don't make them. But I think because the world of men's grooming, where you actually buy a separate aftershave balm from a different company or whatever, is a much bigger thing now than it used to be. So it's very rare now that you can actually find your favorite fragrance easily in a balm or whatever. So sadly that we don't get them so much, unless like we find the old the vintage box sets or whatever.
The gift sets. And I watched that, and I remember saying that you guys were talking about, the body lines were not as popular. They still have gift sets, but
they do
what I noticed is when I'm purchasing, like, let's just say you're on eBay, right, and I'm buying, say, I'm buying Caesars, like the cologne, the aftershaves are sometimes more money than the actual fragrance, because they're even more rare. And I noticed that's how it goes with a lot of things. So some companies maybe they'll still make the body lines, and others don't, because like a lot of having thick beards is into with the the beard oil, and that's different companies as well. So they'll make different things, so people don't care as much about matching the scent. I've always liked to layer match the scent. To me, that's one of the most fun parts about it too, is you get everything that matches, and it'll project a little bit better, we hope.
Yeah, I definitely have to. I was skeptical really in general, but I must say, yeah, from the experience I've had, when you do get one of those balms, it really helps. So yeah, okay, lovely. I'm intrigued as to what the next one is going to be.
All right, so this one, I kind of cheated with this one. I have like a flanker of it too that I wanted to show you, so hopefully, but I got it in a couple different presentations. I don't know if you've ever tried this one before, but it's among my top 5. Czar by Van Cleef and Arpels. Have you tried this? Yeah, this one is so good.
I've tried it in a shop once ages ago. Now I kick myself for not buying it because it's getting harder to track down. I think it's discontinued, so I can't really say I know it. Oh, you got the right. Mm-hmm.
So there's a couple, and one thing I found recently that I didn't realize existed, and I ordered it from a guy in Egypt, was Tsar Cologne. I'll show you the box too, because the bottle looks exactly like. So this one is just a flanker that I don't know what happened to. I guess it didn't last that long, but it's like a little bit lighter than this. You can kind of tell the difference here. This is the regular, and this is the Cologne. So it replaces a lot of the woods with lemon and citrus, and then it's got the green dry down. But Czar is like, talk about green. I did a list about green scents, and this was number 1, and it usually always will be. It smells so good. This one, I got the aftershave and the body wash for this stuff too, and that they all smell incredible. But this one is so good. You can still get this one, but it's really expensive now. Some of the pricey people are asking are crazy.
Yeah, it was not so long ago. You could easily pick up the version that was then current. There was vintage stuff out there too that was a little bit expensive, but now I think it is discontinued full stop. And there were, I think the earliest bottle looked a bit like the black coloured one that you've got there, or the dark green or whatever it is. And then there was you've got the clear bottle as well, was out for a while. Yeah. But is your one a real old vintage, or is that a sort of reasonably recent one?
So I think these are the most recent, and then before that was this one where it's a dark green clear, and before that I should have got it. I have it in my other room. It's only a 50 ml, and I got this one on eBay for $25. The guy just was giving it away along with an aftershave, and it's like a green marble. Like it's not transparent. It's opaque. Where this one's transparent, you can kind of see the juice level, and I think that is the original formulation. However, between this one and that one, I smell no difference. To me, this one lasts the longest on me. This one, they all smell the same. There's no quality difference really. So, But I like this bottle's pretty cool. I thought it, and I have a thing for the built-in sprayers. I think that's the most retro thing that there is, and that's the thing. I think that's really cool when they have a built-in sprayer like that in the bottle. And Czar just smells incredible.
Yeah. A real legendary powerhouse fragrance from the 80s, and I'm with you. I like the built-in sprayers as just one of those 80s things, I think, and we kind of miss them. Okay, now that's the lot, right? That's our 5 picks.
Yep, that's my 5.
All right, well, I'm not quite done with you yet, but that was an absolutely fantastic selection. And guys, if you like this kind of stuff, really, it's a great channel to follow, because even for someone like me who's been into fragrances and making videos for ages, I find something new out, and we watch you to be either to be educated or entertained, and it's certainly entertaining, but without feeling like it's an educational video. I learn new things from nearly every time I watch you, which is absolutely brilliant. Now, just to find out a little bit more about you, then. I'm into other stuff a bit as well. I kind of just recently got a bit more into like vintage watches, but nothing too fancy. And I believe you're a bit into jewelry, but I do think I can see what looks like a not too bad timepiece on your wrist there. What's the watch?
It's okay. It's this is the Movado Museum Classic. So I got this one in December, Christmas Eve, 2015. I went to, you can kind of see, it's a little banged up. It's old. It's my everyday watch, So I got this one in, like I said, I went to the mall. I bought it. It was December. I remember I was at the fitness center. I know we had secured a bonus, and it was Christmas Eve. And see, that's the thing. We had to work like all the time. Like I got Christmas Day off, and then the next day I was right back at work. That's how like ridiculous that place was. But I remember going there, just buying it. And I'm into jewelry. My mom makes jewelry, so she's made me, chains, rings, stuff like that. And I've had the ones that I wear every day that I've had since I've been a kid. that they were always gifted to me. And I have, I know, a nice collection of different links, like from herringbone to Figaro link to the Mariner. I'm looking at a couple ones that there's always some nice deals on eBay. And the guy that taught her how to make jewelry made this ring for me because I bought it off of him, and it's a nice pinky ring, and it's something like that. So I like to wear that stuff, and that always goes with the watch. I'm ready, not quite ready, but I want to soon get a different watch. I'm looking at like a Chronomat Breitling. I really like those a lot. The two-tone silver and gold, I think those are really nice. The all gold ones are probably like 15,000, so I won't be buying that. But the other ones you can get if you look on like Chrono 24, that website, a lot of nice watches there that you can get. People are always trading up watches. Yeah, that's one of the go-to places. And I think, although I guess that's a reasonably modern watch, the two-tone always gives me a bit of an 80s, CEO vibe. What's the film, American Psycho? The guy in that film, he's got a two-tone Rolex, and that had a little bit of that. Yeah, it's good. Yeah. So that link, it does look like that. And what's the Rolex Date Just? That's the one with the Jubilee bracelet where it's two-tone or something like that. Yeah, that's it. That's nice. I like the two-tone. I think it's. I think it was out of fashion for a while, but I definitely think it's coming back. So I love that. Okay, always great to find out a little bit like that kind of stuff about you. And you're into your cars as well. And what was the one you said you were after next? What I'd like to get is I've always dream car. To have a fine Italian sports car would be the Gran Turismo. The Maserati is one that I really like. So cars I've had I had a lot of Infinities for years, like the G35, then the Q60 Sport, and then the Red Sport was my most recent, which that one was that's a sedan. Well, at least that model was, but had a lot of horsepower. And then what I've done is I just kind of toned down the car because I want to get one later so I can actually buy the car and just have it in the garage for, like just to enjoy it, and then lease something that's like, my daily thing. Because the Maserati is not a car that you want to drive every day unless you want to pay a lot in repairs. Yeah, that's the thing with some of these the more high-end cars. I had a guy that I used to teach guitar to, and he had to cancel a lesson because he was stuck out somewhere because his Porsche had a flat tire or something. And you can't just get the AA out and pump it out. He had to go to some specialist place and pay like £500 for a new tire. I'm sure. Yeah, that's crazy. So yeah, you got to be prepared for that with these high-end cars. Last thing then, I love to hear about the old fragrances, but do you have any one or two favorite recent releases that you really like and rate? Recent releases. Yeah. I don't have any on my person right now. Unless you can say no. I'm just out of curiosity. It could. Okay, so my mom was in a jewelry show in London, right? So she was over in London, and she brought me back this scent that I use as like a date night from Initio called Side Effect. That's a niche, she got it at Harrods, and apparently it was an exclusive. I guess probably I'm sure you can get it anywhere now. This was a couple of years ago. So that's somewhat relatively new release. No, that counts. And I would say Acqua di Parma Sandalo. I love that from their ingredient line. I have that fragrance. That one's really good. Oh, Creed Aventus. I mean, that's relatively new. Well, what is that like? You have that now 12 years old now, but I have that. I mean, who doesn't like that? Club de Nuit Intense Man. So those are okay. So those are good. All right, good. So forgive me for typecasting you as totally vintage, guys. There is a variety of stuff on the Sense of South Jersey channel that you may all enjoy. Well, it's been great to chat to you. I really appreciate you taking the time. I hope that a few of my viewers may have discovered the channel if they hadn't discovered you before, but I'm sure that you'll be reaching a wider and wider audience as you continue with your fantastic videos. Thank you ever so much for joining me, Kellen. And we'll bid our viewers a fond farewell. And guys, look out for the next episode in this series coming really soon. And don't forget to go and hit the subscribe button on the Sense of South Jersey channel. Good night or good day to all of you. And remember, guys, whatever we're doing in life, let's project. Bye-bye. Take care. Thanks, Dan.